Satorre.
Our next guest on the Clinton panel, she's the chairperson for the Union Sanitary District and former school board member of Union City. Welcome to the show, Pat Gakoskos.
Okay, next we have someone who is a professor of poli-sci and the chair of the Research and Response Committee for Sacramento for Obama. He also believes that Obama is a representative for the minorities and that he says that we should dream big, and if we work hard, we can fill our dreams like Obama. Say hi to Syrian Villavicencio.
Lastly, on the Clinton panel, we'd like to welcome back to the show. She is part of the State Central Committee of the California Democratic Party. She's been there for the past 12 years. Welcome back, Myrna Lim.
And lastly, we have a legal interviewer and a law student who says that Obama has a fresh perspective on the politics. And that is needed to change the culture of how business is done in Washington. Say hello to David Abella.
So thank you to all our panelists for coming. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in. Thank you to our audience members for coming as well. We will take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll get right to the heart of the matter, Clinton versus Obama. You're watching Speak Out.
Mrs. Clinton and Mr. Obama on the big issues. Both support redeployment of troops from Iraq and an end to the war. Both promise to work towards universal health care for all Americans. Both voted yes on establishing guest worker program. Both support the Veterans Equity Act, and Obama has committed to the bill as a co-sponsor. Some say since the candidates are very similar on key issues, this may boil down to a question of image and mass appeal.
Kaya may babalik ang lumipas na. Kaya may babalik ang lumipas na.
About Barack Obama versus Hillary Rodham Clinton.
And ultimately, who will be better for the Filipino American community?
That's right. Okay, and a lot of the issues that have been being discussed during the Democratic debate so far have been war, the economy, and also universal health care. But that hot button topic still remains, the war. How do they both feel about this? Right now, they both want a cap on troops and they want to get out. But and there's something.
There is a knock on Hillary's campaigns because originally she was for the war and now she's not for the war, and so they're saying, you know, changing her mind.
Back and forth. Is that acceptable, guys?
You know, we've all changed our minds in the past about something. Why is Hillary being knocked for changing her mind about her platform on the war?
Certainly. I mean, again, we all have the right to change our minds when new information comes about. Part of my point of contention, and I do have the utmost respect for Senator Clinton, is that it seems that it's an easy task now. It's popular. It's easy to get headlines for opposing the war in Iraq. Whereas when Mr. Obama was running for the U.S. Senate in Illinois back in 2003, he took a very strong stance against the war. It was a gamble that he took because it was, by all means, not a safe position. Public opinion at that time in 2003 was very much for the war in Iraq. And I think he showed bold and genuine leadership in a time where his position wasn't popular. He was willing to say, this is who I am, this is what I believe in since the inception of the war.
So they're doing it because
Hillary also said that knowing what she knows now, she would not have made that decision. She made it on the best possible decision at that time, based on the information that was brought. It wasn't just her. Many senators and many representatives voted for the war, based on sound judgment
I have to-
for national security?
Yes,
I
very
have to, I have to bring up the point, Sarah, and again, with all due respect with Senator Hillary Clinton, and again, if Barack Obama wasn't running, I'd probably be on the Hillary side as well.
okay.
But there have been,
Thanks for that disclaimer. Yeah.
really, there was a national intelligence report that the media has brought up that was there for her to read over, and the media has made the point that Hillary didn't take the time to actually read that report before then, understanding what the implications of the war was at that time.
We keep saying that the decisions made were based on the information at the time, but back in 2004, didn't they have the same
Yeah,
information
so did
at the same
Barack
time?
Obama.
So he had the same information as Hillary did, and they made different judgments.
I think one of the big criticisms is that, as opposed to Edwards, who actually apologized that he first supported the war and then now he doesn't, he apologizes, I apologize, I acknowledge I was wrong. Hillary never did that. Isn't that something that we should expect from Hillary?
Well, I think having been a first lady for Bill Clinton for 8 years and having been exposed to foreign policy and relationships with foreign nations, I think her standard was a little bit higher than the average legislator, because having worked as a first lady, she had to realize that a president has to rely on the national security, has to rely on the CIA, and you cannot be a lone ranger out there saying, I disagree, and basically ignore what's being presented by your own staff, which is the CIA and the national security. I think that's where she's coming from at that time when she was making that decision, and the whole world was fooled. There was a whole big propaganda machine out in the real world that was being conducted by the Republican Party, by the Bush administration, and that was very difficult, to contradict. But I do have to respect Mr. Obama's position at that time. But I think that they have a differing opinion based on their differing experiences.
Speaking of experience, of course, one obviously has more experience than the other. Do you think that the lack of experience on the side of Barack Obama maybe made him make the decision to not support the war? Could that
That's
be?
what I was going to say.
Go ahead, Pat.
That I think when Obama made a decision to vote to support, to not support the war in Iraq, is because of his lack of leadership, or his
Leadership, guys.
no, not leadership, but his lack of experience as a leader in the national
Lack of
position.
experience. We've
Lack
heard
of
this
experience.
song sung before. Lack of experience.
Actually,
Hillary Clinton.
to be a leader here, you don't need that much experience because records are ready at that time. And that's just for political expediency, Hillary and Kerry voted for the sending of troops. But actually, Obama's ready that agenda that we should not be sending troops because this will, just like Vietnam, Now we are like in Vietnam, We cannot get out. So I think Obama was right from the very start, and he showed leadership here.
So there you go. Lack of experience, but he showed leadership early on. Isn't that the mark of a good leader that's got great potential? He's so young, and yet he's already making
Or
decisions.
maybe ignorance is bliss.
I think Hillary Clinton weighed a lot of things that were presented to her. So that's why she voted that way. At the same time, she showed leadership by
She's listening
staying
to-
with
yeah.
that decision that she had made already.
Staying with it, but
yeah,
then
staying
again
with that
later on
decision.
kind of-
And then after getting more information, I think she realized that was
Go
a
ahead,
bad
Terry.
decision.
Again, I brought up the point that Hillary had the information there, the intelligence report was there, and then, I believe there was proof that she never read the report in the first place. Now, Barack, I believe in Larry King Live, or with either Larry King or Charlie Rose on PBS, I don't recall. But this was 2002, and he was being interviewed, and he basically was a prophet in a sense. He foresaw what was going to be happening, and he foresaw what's happening today. He said, he critically was against the Bush administration and said that the current administration has no exit strategy. That will be in the mess that we're in. That there will be a civil war between the Shia, the Sunnis, and the Kurds.
Right. So he foresaw.
So he foresaw that. I don't know what that is, but that is leadership in my book. That he can foresee a vision of us bringing us to the war and seeing the repercussions.
But ultimately, in the end, both are for redeployment, pulling out troops, and both are not in favor of the war at this point. We're going to take a short commercial break, talk about jobs and immigration when we come back. More more right in the heart of the issues that
Especially
the
for Filipino voters out
Americans.
there.
We'll be back.
Although Mrs. Clinton and Mr. Obama are leading in the polls, they're not the only ones to keep an eye on. Senator John Edwards was the first to release a comprehensive universal health care plan. And Governor Bill Richardson adds to the already diverse list and supports affirmative action policies in government contracts. And former Vice President Al Gore may still declare his candidacy. A poll found that if Gore did enter the race, 29% of Clinton supporters would switch their allegiance to Gore.
Hawagan mo, ito'y lumalaki. Ang galing ng super gabuti. Hawagan mo, ito'y lumalaki.
Okay, we are back.
Back on Speak Out, and we're still talking about Obama and Mrs. Hillary Clinton. And right now for this segment, we are going to focus on what matters most to Filipino voters out there. And number one, one of the top priorities is immigration. Now, a lot of Filipino Americans, they're concerned about family reunification. And now with the Immigration Reform Act kind of dead in Congress, what can we expect from
Your candidate.
your candidate?
Actually, when Barack Obama spoke about this that bill that was passed, because this is the politicians are creating more divisiveness on this aspect, because the more we talk of this, you know, the family reunification was not included, and the more strict they are, they have to pay just for a certain amount just to, and you know, election is coming. That's why this is not so clear. That is why even
It's
the
not so
majority
clear
is
that, what's not clear? His
the bill that was
the bill
was
that was
not
passed. Right. But what about Barack Obama? What do you think he will do, or what has he promised
I
to
think,
do
he wants,
after this?
that should be included, is the family reunification at the same time, not just a visa good for 5 years, but it should be good for forever. That,
Right.
for as long as you're not doing any crime here in America.
Okay.
One of the things that the pro-Barack Obama people are saying is that he himself is a second-generation immigrant. His dad is Kenyan. He lived in Indonesia. So he's closely more related to the Filipino situation. Is that a valid point? Maybe we should vote for Barack because he maybe understands the Filipino immigrants' plight more?
I think when Hillary becomes the president in 2008, with her
When?
strong,
Okay.
yeah,
When?
he will be, she will become the president of
Okay.
the United States in
Okay, when she does.
2008.
Okay.
With her strong record of family values, family and youth, I think she will support the family reunification, which is very important to Filipino immigrants coming to the United States. And,
Now, a lot of people think that if Hillary gets into office, so will Bill Clinton. We know that the Clinton years, a lot of immigrants actually were enabled to naturalize over 1 million within just a couple of months. Now, that gives them a lot of, perspective of how much experience they are. What has Barack Obama done in terms of immigration? And
Well, I think Barack Obama, to me, is an inspiration to the Filipino people, Filipino American people. Why? Because he speaks about race is a major factor in this election, and stereotyping is still there. Being mother is white and the father is black, still he's perceived as black. He's considered by even in Congress as a minority. To us, this is stereotyping. In the moment he speaks, as if I'm the one speaking, because to the white people,
So you
I
feel
don't
more
mind.
familiar.
And they perceive us as a minority. That's why, to me, Barack is an inspiration, because he really speaks for
And
the
for that,
majority.
you feel like he'll
social
speak for
justice,
immigrants too.
for
right?
minorities.
Now, Syrian, as the chairman for the Research and Response Committee for Sacramento for Obama, what has Obama shown for immigrants, and what do you think he will continue to do for immigrants?
He's done a lot of, in terms of immigration, again, as mentioned by Ray, it's a hot button issue in Congress right now, and they're still trying to work out the provisions. Barack believes, the senator believes, that there's really a right way and a wrong way, in a sense, to come, to come here to the United States. And he was, again, his father was an immigrant, and again, most of us here are immigrants,
Right.
are legal immigrants. So the senator believes, again, that there should be a way to. We have this problem. We know we have a problem. We have 12, 14 million undocumented immigrants right there.
So
and
he
they are
still believes in
workers.
like a strict law, the people that are maybe TNTs should not be allowed to come in, and they should be in the back of the line, kind of thing.
No, not. In a sense, he wants to make sure that there is a reasonable path, a path to citizenship.
He did vote yes on establishing a guest worker program.
Right.
That is true. He did
Right.
vote yes on
Right.
allowing illegal aliens to participate in Social Security. So, but
So did Hillary.
And so did
Very
Hillary.
similar.
And I could just say this is when Barack Obama becomes president of the United States, he will address this. He will address this issue in a reasonable way and respecting human dignity at the same time.
This is one of those topics that I feel hasn't been really discovered yet in the debates as well, and I feel like it's going to get a little bit more solidified. Yes.
Well, the thing is, I think both of them have very good intentions, as far as being good Democrats, that they believe in the rights of people to become immigrants and to become legal citizens of the U.S. when they want to. I think what the difference between the two of them would be experience and effectiveness. See, the thing is, in order to pass a bill through Congress, you need both sides of the aisle.
Right.
You need to be able to put together a very strong coalition.
You think Hillary
who
has
would vote
that?
for that? Oh yeah,
Has that ability?
She's a seasoned warrior, for God's sake.
Okay.
She learned her first
So-
mistake.
When John Kennedy was elected president, he was inexperienced at the age of 43. But here you are, 44 years old. I think that is the stereotyping again comes in here. That is why Barack Obama is, I would say, the inspiration for the Filipino immigrants, because he, in his book, he claims that we have to claim back our American dream. What is that American dream?
Well, but
Not only to have a house, a car, beautiful, but of course to participate to the mainstream.
Yeah, but
to
you
be
know what?
recognized.
Let's get realistic about politics. I mean, this is what we're talking about in terms of being able to get a bill through. I mean, the fact of the matter is, Barack Obama is very smart, but the question is, when you are in Congress and you are trying to get votes, basically, you have to get Republican votes and you have to get Democratic votes to pass a bill
do you
through.
think that Hillary will be a little bit more moderate and
Hillary will be able to do
unify?
that, because remember, and let's talk about years. The first time that Hillary came in full blast and was acting as a maverick, she lost her first big battle during the first year of the Clinton administration
was
on the
for-
universal health care.
Right.
I mean, her intention was good. She believed it with her heart. But the fact of the matter is, she lost
And
it because
she's saying right now that with the universal health care in a top priority for the Democratic debate, that we need a lot of politicking. Like, you need to
Exactly.
pull from each. But there is something about Hillary with universal health care.
But let me, if I
Go ahead,
may,
David,
counter
yes.
a point with experience. It's true, Mr. Obama has less experience in federal office at that level. However, he brings extensive experience working in the community. And I think it's absolutely imperative that if any of our legislators are going to represent us in Washington, D.C., they must first and foremost have a thorough understanding of what we are facing in our communities at the street level. Here's someone who attended Harvard University, a prestigious institution, was the president of the Law Review,
Right,
and
he
chose
has a
to
lot
come
of
back.
experience in that.
Instead of getting into corporate law, he chose to come back to his community, to start voter registration drives, to work
He
on a
worked at
civil
a
rights
church,
project.
Right.
That is experience, and I don't think that's experience that should be taken lightly.
Yeah, and both. Actually, we'll get to your point when we come back on the break. I would say that both are very well experienced in their own right, but we will find out what else they're experienced in when we come back here on Speak Out.
Nang sabi ko'y hello, napapabilang ako. Binabati ko kayo. Ang galing ng super kapite. Hawakan
I want Hillary Clinton to be the next president. It's about time to have a woman president.
I'm leaning for Hillary Clinton because I'm looking forward on her universal health care plan because I'm thinking of retiring early.
If I can be yesterday, too late to say. If I can be yesterday, would it be too late to say that I'll stay here for you? Won't you stay with me tomorrow?
Right. Super Capote is the band, and you are back. You are back. We are back watching Speak Out, and we are asking the question: who deserves the Filipino American vote, Senator Clinton or Senator Obama?
Now, one of the issues that is an emotional issue for the Filipino Americans is the Veterans Equity Act, and Sarah actually knows a lot about this act. Sarah, can you tell us briefly what will this act accomplish?
We're talking about the equity bill. This is the act that will give the Filipino American veterans of World War II equal benefits as the American veterans of World War II. It took a decade for this bill to finally move. But this equity bill moved so slow because of the Republican Congress. So this finally came out of committee on a positive vote for the first time.
So
but that doesn't mean that no other veterans bills were passed in the interim. However, we need strong leadership for the equity bill to pass both houses. Votes
and
on we need strong leadership. Yes, we need political. We need political
Go ahead, Ray.
cooperation from both sides of the aisle.
Okay, Ray, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Ray.
Actually, Barack Obama brain sponsored this, and it passed already in the trail bill of in the Senate.
Right. S1315.
Yes,
now
that
Barack
bill passed.
Barack Obama actually sits in the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee. And he is the person who actually co-sponsored and signed on to this bill. I don't know where Hillary is in terms of this bill.
Where she's been for the last 6 years.
All the way. And the reason why Obama's on the forefront, because he's in that committee.
Well, if we want to draw lines of distinction here between Hillary and Barack, it is this issue. This is the issue that unites all Filipino Americans together. Right. It's an issue that that I'm personally connected with. My grandfather fought in World War II with the U.S. Army and walked in the Bataan Death March. And Barack cares about the Filipino veterans.
Obviously, since he's co-sponsoring this,
exactly. So I don't know where Hillary is at the moment.
So because Barack is co-sponsoring it, won't the bill move faster with him there as president?
It will move way faster with the leadership of Hillary, for sure.
But where's she been for the last 6 years?
When
Mr. Obama's only been in office for a couple of years.
That bill is a go.
Well, you know, when the third largest concentration of Filipinos is from Chicago. When she was approached, and readily he co-sponsored it. That's why the Filipinos in Chicago loves Barack Obama. That is why probably Hillary should stay as a housewife to Bill Clinton.
Whoa! Wait a minute. That makes me want to walk this way. What the heck was that?
But talking about being easy to approach, it looks like Barack has that demeanor where he is easier to talk to, whereas for a Filipino American, Hillary's like a very distant figure.
Let me tell you about that. I actually met.
You just gave Hillary the female vote,
but
which is higher.
I actually met the senator in Oakland last St. Patrick's Day. A couple of us went down and were introduced to him. And let me tell you this one little brief story. I was there going to shake his hand, and I have another partner from Sacramento for Obama there. She's a mother. Her name's Kim Mack. She has a mother of a son in Iraq.
Okay.
And one thing about Barack that separates other candidates in the field is his genuineness. Okay, so here she was, and she shook the senator's hands. Her eyes are just full of tears, and said, "Senator, bring my son back home." Okay, the senator looked at her and embraced her, and I could see the tears swelling up in his eyes. And he said, "Kim, I will do everything in my power."
Did he
to
come
bring
back?
home to bring home your son.
Right.
He's still in Iraq. He's still in Iraq. But when Barack becomes president, he will, I can assure you, reassure that promise and bring home our troops.
I think that's a promise that has been made by both sides. Another promise is universal health care. Now, how, Myrna, you want to talk about this?
I support Hillary very strongly because I was very impressed that during the first year of the election of Bill Clinton, she came out very strongly
She was the head
on
of committee on
universal health care.
Right.
I mean, they just trounced her, they beat her up, because at that time...
Is that really the role of the first lady in
Legislation.
the first place?
Was there precedent? No, I mean, it's a fair question. Was there precedent?
Okay.
Was there precedent for a first lady to have that level of involvement?
Leadership that transcended. She transformed what a first lady's role was. The fact is, she believed in something. She knew that healthcare was a major problem for the American people.
Okay,
She
and
was
she's done a
effective
lot
as
of
first
research.
lady. She could have probably convinced the president at that time, which is Bill Clinton, to see to it that the Congress should pass the universal health care that you are talking about.
But he
here you have...
issue. The House
assigned her to do
But
that.
I have a question for the Clinton side. Now, one of the big controversies is being talked about by journalists, also Michael Moore, who's coming out with that movie.
Oh, the movie is already out.
It's already out, right. About universal health care and how Hillary Clinton, those people that basically defeated her bill, the insurance companies,
Right, exactly.
they're the ones that gave her money when she was campaigning for Senate.
Let me
Now,
answer-
how's
let me
that?
add something to that.
Yes, Syrian, go ahead.
Differentiate between the campaigns. All right. Barack Obama does not accept money from PACs nor special interests. All of the money that he's raised in the first quarter, $25 million, and by the way, Hillary, yes, did raise $26 million, but all of those $25 million came from average people like you and me. David, how much do you?
I've probably contributed $86.
I-
That's really all I can afford.
I haven't
Give me $30 to the campaign.
$86 to the
I want them to be
campaign.
able to respond to this. Why has Hillary done this? She's accepting campaign money from the people that very much defeated her universal health
That's
care.
like, you're talking about 1992 and 2007. You're talking about a 15-year difference when she first introduced the bill. But I think that what she did was a very historical thing to do for America at that time because nobody has heard of it. No, I'm talking about universal health care when it was the first time that somebody at that level and with such celebrity and with such name recognition was able to bring to the forefront a major problem that the American people have known has existed for a long time.
Let's get the audience into the discussion. Juju, please stand up, speak out.
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Thank you very much for both parties being here. In terms of choice, we have two good choices. It's just a matter of deciding which is better. It's not one bad and one good.
Right.
We have, on one hand, Barack Obama, who graduated from Columbia University, went to Harvard Law School, did teach law school. Here we have Hillary Clinton, who also went to Yale Law School.
What is your question, June?
It seems like in terms of issues, both are on the same side. So does it boil down now to personalities in terms of deciding who among the two should we vote for?
Okay.
And I was leaning before, I was not decided. Now I'm leaning towards Hillary Clinton.
Think about the personalities of your candidates, and we'll let our guests think about them as well. We'll have them answer the question when we come back here on Speak
Out.
I would probably vote for Obama just because that I feel like, he's like the new kid in the block type of deal, and Hillary's been in the politics game for a while now.
The way that he effortlessly and consistently returns to the value of empathy and service is very reassuring, and it tells us that as a president, he will both be very effective and very conscientious.
Pati na tayo, huwag ka nang magtampo. Please, pati na tayo, huwag ka na, huwag ka na, huwag ka na.
Right, welcome back.
We are back. You're You're watching Speak Out. That's Super Capote. And before we went to the commercial break in the last segment, we had an audience member who was saying, you know, the two candidates, Clinton and Obama, have similar stance on immigration, similar stance on the economy. Maybe it boils down to personality. And he was neutral before, at first, but now he's leaning towards more with the Clintons because of the Bill Clinton factor. What do you have to say about the other voters out there who are like him?
Sure, I'd love to address it. I think personality will matter ultimately when people decide which candidate is going to best represent their view of where our country should be headed and what our president should project in this important office. There's a couple of factors why I'd like to present my side for Mr. Obama. First, I think as a person of faith who is active in his church, I think definitely as a Filipino, that's something that many of us can identify with.
Is Hillary not a person of faith?
No, I'm not saying that she's not.
Okay.
I never said she was not, but as a strong person of faith who is active in his church, I think that's something we're with. And the second half of that I wanted to bring home is look at the path of how both of these persons have gotten to office. Me personally, I identify more with Mr. Obama because of his route, losing elections where he, barely had to get funding together from himself and his personal friends and his family friends. Here's someone who did not just simply ride the coattails of a spouse into office. With all due respect, Senator Clinton, with all due respect, one day she put on a Yankees baseball cap and she was from New York.
Very valid point. Very valid.
With all due respect.
Well, but I read Hillary's book, and I thought it was Bill Clinton who was riding her coattail.
Ooh. So it's her chance to shine,
Exactly.
basically.
I thought that she was. They're both brilliant people.
Please tell me, is the Bill Clinton factor a factor that you're considering?
Oh,
because
definitely.
Bill Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
He's the man. Okay.
You know, if Junjun will only read this book of Obama, Audacity of Hope, and Dreams and Hopes of his father, reclaiming the American dream, we are like the Filipinos. We would like to have this American dream, not only have beautiful house or beautiful cars, but to go to the mainstream. If you're going to read this book, actually, as if you're the one talking, you're the one yourself. That's why the Filipinos are really...
I can speak for the Filipino voter. I mean, they usually, the reasons why ERAP gets into office, FPJ, when he was running for president, leads the polls, is because they can relate to someone from the masa. In the same way, I don't know if it holds true for the Filipino American voter, Barack Obama, from a mid-income family growing up. And do you think that should be a factor to consider?
I think the Obama supporters are really excited about him because of novelty and mystery about the man. But if you base it on the experience and the strength of the candidate, for example, the Clintons have suffered a lot of bashing from left and right, but they were able to go above all of these.
Did Hillary show such great poise during the Lewinsky scandal? Would you give her credit for that? Maybe she scored some points there.
Yes, you should.
No,
you should.
I think she should take
no
care
one wants to comment. Yes,
I would say Hillary should take care of Bill Clinton. Just take care of Bill Clinton and be a senator.
I'm just going to sit over here.
Well, we can say that, Obama could be a vice president when Hillary got nominated for president and when they were...
address Junjun since he said he was leaning more on Hillary's side. The difference between these two candidates, like as Pat was hinting on it in the beginning, was that people are excited about him. He's definitely a charismatic person. But his campaigns are working differently. In Sacramento, we have over 600 members.
And it's very grassroots.
It's very grassroots,
as opposed to Clinton, which is
exactly. Which is we've only seen Hillary Clinton in San Francisco here and in Sacramento with people with money like Sakopoulos. She is.
But Obama's going to
exactly.
everybody.
She is catering to the big money, whereas Obama is catering definitely. Well, money is important in politics, but he spends time with the people.
All right, let's get the audience into this. We have Filipino American reporter here, Steve. Hi, Steve. Please stand up, speak out.
Thanks. So this is for both panels. There's a bunch of other candidates running, and by the end of the primaries, there might be no Hillary or Barack. So who's the next best candidate do you think would be the good voice for the Filipino community? Al Gore? Richardson?
Al Gore's not running though.
What if he does?
Well, you know, if Al Gore runs, I'm gonna vote for him. He should have won last time.
So
He
you're ready
won
for
by a
Hillary?
million votes.
If
Remember?
Al Gore runs, who gets affected more, Hillary or Barack?
Oh, Hillary definitely.
Oh, wow.
Hillary will take more of a hit because more of her vote is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you-
No, Al Gore will be great, and he won last time. Come on, he won by a million votes.
Okay.
He really won an election in the first place.
Oh,
You have to go back to Texas.
Let's give her a second. Let's have another audience. Hi, Diane. Please stand up. Speak out.
Hi. A lot of candidates talk about universal health care, which means different things to different people. I'd like to know the specifics about universal health care from each of the candidates and how this is going to be funded, and what does it mean, universal health care, because it can be really universal or it can be very different than that.
Very good point. Yes.
Especially, you know, everyone knows a fellow Filipino in maybe an immigration bind, maybe. You know, he probably may or may not have access to that universal health care if it passes.
Oh, yes, go ahead, Stephen.
I have the details, but I'm not going to bog you down with
Yes,
the details.
yes.
But from what I know from what the senator's plan is, it's giving people universal health care through the same type of health care as federal employees are receiving currently. Now,
what's wrong with that?
what was that?
What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's
That's I'm explaining part of the details of his plan. So if you can't afford it, the federal government will be able to subsidize it for you. And I love the plan because it also gives you choice. So for example, if you can't afford, if you don't like the specific plan that the federal government is offering, you can also choose. You have an option to go and insure into the private.
Now,
Again,
Obama
this
has
affects-
been criticized, though, about not, I remember his one of the debates, the Democratic debates, he said that he's not making health care mandatory, only for children. And he's been criticized by Edwards about that. Why would he not make it mandatory? Isn't that not universal health care then, if not everybody has it?
Well, again, I think the most important part first, and Senator Barack Obama hinted on it, is that our children are very important. And according in his plan, the children will be covered. I mean, there's 9 million American children who are not covered here. But again, we have to be practical, and we have to be practical in the plan. And that is, in a way, again, he will, once he becomes president, he will address that, and he's promised to address the problem of universal health care by his first term. And I'll cover everyone across the board.
Should undocumented Filipinos be concerned about universal health care because it will affect or will not affect them?
I remember that Obama, wasn't he supporting Medicaid for undocumented immigrants, something like that?
I really believe that health care should be a human right. You know, for a country like this, America, where it's the most advanced, supposedly the richest country in the world, if we can't give health care to every single person who's in it, what kind of a country are we? I mean, when you see dogs or animals who are sick, we show them so much care. But, you know, why can't we show the same care for human beings,
So we're
no
voting
matter
for
what
universal health
designation
care.
is?
We're going to take a short commercial break and wrap things up when we come back here on Speak Out. Stay with us. We are back, and you are watching Speak Out, and it's just about the time when we wrap up the show. Very interesting discussion.
Yes, and now we're going to give the panel time to tell us one more time why we should vote for either Hillary or Obama.
Although elections are still next year, you know, we want to, get your vote early on. Sarah, from, of course, the Clinton side, what can you say as a parting shot to our viewers?
Hillary will bring the troops home. She will fight for the middle class. The Asian American Pacific Islander is now in her radar. thanks to people like us. And regarding healthcare, she has fought that fight before. She has battle scars to show for it, and she will once more be the best person to get political support for it.
All right, Sarah, very good. Well said.
Okay, Ray.
Okay, Ray?
I implore everybody to support Barack Obama because he is one of us. He speaks for the dreams and hopes of the Asian American. And I believe because he has shown this, he supported the Filipino Veterans Equity Act in Chicago, and all of the Filipino veterans will be happy on this. And also, all the things that he's really very approachable and things like this, very important to us.
Okay, Ray, thank you very much. Very good points raised by both sides. Pat?
As a public official in Union City and as a woman, I believe that Hillary could lead the most powerful country in the world better than Barack Obama. She understands better family life and children. I know she'll be more approachable because as a woman, I think we have this intuitive quality as a woman, and she also has a lot of experience in foreign affairs, which we didn't talk about. And that's very important, especially with the war in Iraq and the relations of the Bush administration to other countries.
Okay, thank you very much, Pat.
And also,
Syrian?
I'm sorry, I forgot that one.
Syrian.
Okay, Syrian.
Unfortunately, we live in the 21st century, and unfortunately, we live in an age of global terror. Barack Obama has spent part of his childhood in Indonesia, has read the Quran, has respect for Islam and other cultures. He will, when he is elected president in 2008, repair all of the relationships that the Bush administration has disrepaired for us since 2001. And regardless of that, he will again bring the United States back to a respected country as it should be.
Okay,
Well, I really support strongly Hillary Clinton because I believe she's a fighter. She's a very strong woman, and she's a leader. And I think that we need that kind of leadership, not only in the USA today, but in the world, because there's so much problems going on in the world, and we need somebody who could navigate through the treachery of the political waters in the U.S. today. And at the same time, though, finally, I believe that the Filipino people really have to demand more from our politicians. I think it's up to the Filipino community to demand that we have access to any politician who gets elected, that we not be taken for granted, that we be at the table when the thing happens, when they become elected. Because otherwise, we just keep on giving to politicians, and history says we're not getting much.
So go out and vote. Okay, Myrna, thank you very much. And David, finally, with you.
Thank you. Finally, Barack Obama is the candidate who best understands working class persons such as myself. As the son of an immigrant, as the son of a state employee, of a firefighter, Barack is the candidate who really understands that a spike in the Dow Jones doesn't mean much for persons such as myself. And that's why I'm voting for Barack.
Thank you very much. Well, I personally not allowed to vote yet here in the States. I'm here as a skilled worker, not yet as an immigrant, maybe soon. But if you want excitement, enthusiasm, a fresh face in politics, Barack Obama is the choice. Tried and tested, experience. Bill Clinton